Hello, all you hardcore boxing fans out there. How are you doing? It's Big P here, the voice. You know, don't you? You know. We say the things that nobody dare say. Today I'm joined by my good friend Terry from London. How are you doing, Terry?
I'm good, mate. How are you? You had a good weekend?
Yeah, we had a great weekend. Yeah, I've been training this morning, did a video this morning, and they are uploading Weapon of the Week to the members area as we speak.
Yeah, you're still doing the 15 pull-ups in a row.
I don't know. I haven't got around to any of them yet. I'll leave that to Bunny. Big shout out to Bunny from Sheffield. No, I just
Living
do
legend.
weights, don't I? Weights, I I
You're
do
gonna have
weight.
UCAD knocking on your door soon, Porky.
I know, yeah, I know. And I haven't missed a day in a month. And I haven't been doing much boxing training. It's pretty tedious, isn't it? I don't mind going up bag for 2 minutes, but other than that, my mind seems to wander. I think you need mental strength, don't you, for all that?
You gotta get into the habit of just what a lot of people don't understand is they go into the gym, they see a bag, and they treat it like it's a scrap in a pub car park, and they just start throwing the hardest shots they can.
Yeah,
But actually, real good bag work is repetition. You throw the same 3 punches like 100, 150 times
yeah.
until it's perfect.
Like Larry Holmes.
Every good boxer I've ever seen does that. And what you see them doing, Russ, is they're tweaking the foot position, they're tweaking where their hips are. They make these small adjustments until that punch is spot on. Like if you ever see Canelo videos, you'll see him do that. He just makes these small little tweaks and adjustments till he can get every ounce of power out of that one punch.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty tedious boxing training, but I'm enjoying training at the moment, and so I'm eating correctly and that. And do you know what? After the month, I'm looking forward to going to tomorrow. I've even got everything wrote down what I'm gonna do tomorrow. Whereas after the first week, I was like, oh God. But now I'm not aching anymore. I think Bunny said to me when I brought Bunny on board to help Peter and Yui, he says after 3 weeks, Yui won't ache anymore. And I kept thinking about that, and obviously I've done 4 weeks now, and I don't ache. I get up, I don't ache.
Yeah. Your body adapts. So
Mm.
that's why, if you ever notice, pre-season is normally about 4 weeks
Yeah,
in most sports, because you got to get the first week is hell. And you're sick and you're lying on the floor rolling around. But after week 4, your body can cope. It normally takes about a month to build up the ability to recover from your training load.
yeah. Yeah, so, and obviously that applied nutrition strawberry pack that Joe Gallagher gave me, that's helping me recovery.
That was a good video, by the way. The
Like the
the
Joe
one
Gallagher
you
one.
Gallagher's. Yeah, that was good. That was class. Man. It was
Didn't we
nice.
have it? Didn't I have him wrong? I used to give him so much stick, but actually he's all right. He's all for his fighters, and
No, because Joe listens to this, so he hopefully doesn't get offended when I say this. He was a different person to the guy that he is now. I think the Ring Magazine Trainer of the Year thing got to him a bit. I think he thought his style was unbeatable. He had figured it out. He had decoded the matrix. And then I think life humbles you. So I think it's a more humble Joe Gallagher now. It's a Joe who's got something to prove. So he wants to prove that he didn't get lucky first time around. And I think you just see the difference in him now. I think he's one of the more interesting trainers we've got now. So credit to him for the new chapter that he seems to have discovered.
Do you know what? I think? I think that yeah, he is more humble. I think he is more humble, but I think that as time goes by, you get older and you think, what the hell? And I think he just wants to look out for his fighters. I mean, he made a stand against what were going on at Sky and Matchroom last year, and I think he shocked everybody, didn't he? He was the only one that came out, wasn't he, and said, hey, do you know what? This ain't right, what's going on here. And I think there is more people that I do speak to regular whose fighters are not getting the opportunities as much as others. And I think they should come out and say, do you know what? This ain't right. That's just my opinion, honestly.
Yeah, but Joe's got real estate, though. So Joe will always be in a position where he's got guys that TV companies will desire. Some of these other trainers might have one, but they don't have a stable like that. So they kind of have to be good until they can get 5 or 6 guys at that level. Like Caldwell, if Caldwell wanted to upset the apple cart, he could, because he's got that real estate now, especially with Chisora coming back. But some of these other guys, it's best they just sit on the sofa and chill out, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, but we wish Joe Gallagher all the best with Callum Johnson, Natasha Jonas, Jose Burt.
Yeah, and the young girl he's got now.
Yeah, and there's obviously Croller's working there, Quig, they're training now. So he's building a bit of a dynasty there, isn't he, really? And he's got that young...
That's what I like to see.
He's got young Oliver Brady there, photographer, on board all the time. Young Ollie, Marcus Morrison. And listen, there's no divas in that gym, and it's refreshing to go there and relieve a dark cloud of what hangs over us sometimes in boxing. You go in there and it's just like going into Mick Wales' gym or Chris Smedley's gym. They don't have any divas.
Hard to be. Boxing's just. I remember you and I used to talk about this, and I always said to you, the most honest place you'll ever find in the world is a boxing gym.
Yeah.
There's no hiding place. You can't lie to people. You know what I mean? Like, you will find out who you really are in a boxing gym.
It's not like on a football pitch, is it, where you've been out the night before? You could more or less get through a game, couldn't you, and not want the ball and that, can't you?
Yeah, you can give it to the talented guy. Just one touch past it, and just get rid of it and go, whew, there's me getting a chance to rest. Hey, on a side note, man, when are you going to sue Porky Medina? There can only be one Porky in boxing.
Was that him who fought the Gale?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe.
Is that why Carl didn't fight him? They say Carl didn't fight Porky. He's like, no, he's my man.
You're mad, you, Terry. Let's go through. I don't know what to start with. So, well, I think we can only start with one thing, can't we? Yeah. £800 a ticket. People saying it's $750, but there's £50 booking fee. £800 a ticket. Eddie Hearn's fight camp. Was it a disaster? Yes or no? And what's your thoughts on the whole episode?
So it wasn't a disaster for me because I thought this is what would happen. I genuinely believe, Russ, and you and I have talked about this. We wouldn't realize how important Sky were to Matchroom until they separated, and we now realize what Sky were doing for Matchroom.
Massive, wasn't it?
Because most people were saying the ring looked weird. It looked like because Sky aren't giving you the photography like they normally do, right? Because Sky give you a certain viewpoint. So we're used to seeing boxing from that Sky perspective, right? You got a hard camera, you've got a couple of cameras positioned in the corner, and they've got experienced directors who know where to go and when, right? This whole new Matchroom setup, it felt a bit, as the Irish would say, it's a bit rinky-dink, isn't it? It's a bit amateur.
Yeah.
From the bits that I saw, it just all felt a bit, it's like trying to fix your own car. Let's say you got Ferrari. It's like you're trying to fix your own car. And you might fix it, but the engine's just going to sound weird and it's not going to go as fast and it's not going to be as stable. There's a reason why you hire professionals to deal with high value repairs and stuff. And Sky were an important part of that Matchroom machine. And without them, number one, hardly anyone watched this. If you look at the social media traffic, hardly anybody was engaged. No one really cared. And that's the worst thing for Hearn. Like, there's nothing worse for Hearn than being invisible. And this is the first time I think we can call Eddie Hearn invisible.
What did you think to Campbell Hatton's performance, Terry?
Remember I said to you, man, we've got to give him 2 years. Like, if we judge him on a fight-by-fight basis, and we're never going to be satisfied. We need to be able to give him 2 years, look back over the 2 years and go, you've either progressed or you haven't.
He's had a year, though, hasn't he?
How many fights has he had now? 3?
3 in a year.
That's not enough. And they're matching him carefully as well. Like, they're just getting him out. Like, they're not even trying to give him development fights yet. So we can't even start to tell. I think end of next year, we'll know where Campbell Hatton is. I just don't think, everyone got sucked into all that. He's just like his old man, the way he's hitting the bags. But he's never going to be his old man. And the problem is when you're not Ricky Hatton, that style can actually be pretty dangerous for you if you haven't got the same fortitude that Ricky did.
What about Tony Bellew after the fight? He was asked by Laura Woods what he thought. Do you think that he was trying to do Hatton a favour? Ricky We being dad at kid of Campbell. Do you think he would try to do him a favour instead of just speaking it as he saw it?
They're always going to be company people, aren't they? You don't follow Eddie from Sky to the Zone if you're not a company man. If you know, Tony knows how to keep money in the assets. Do you know what I mean? So he's just keeping money in the asset.
Do you feel that the old production thing, well, there was something missing from it? There was something not keeping the glue all together. It was forced. And do you think maybe they missed Bean and company man Johnny Nelson? Do you think? And maybe
Sky's a well-oiled machine.
Yeah,
mate. Scar's a well-oiled machine. We used to remember you'd give Johnny stick, and I'd tell you, Johnny's good at what he does, because what Johnny's really good at is he can feel where the energy is in a discussion, and he just throws a curveball in there, because he knows as soon as you throw that curveball in there, that's another 500 tweets straight away.
Do you
right?
know what?
And what?
Yeah, I was going to say, sorry, I never thought I'd miss Johnny Nelson so much last night and Bean. But
remember I told you, like, Mike Costello is no replacement for Adam Smith. Adam he's a damn good broadcaster. He's annoying, but that's because we're so used to him and we thought we needed something different. And we realized actually, we need Bean there. The problem with him is he never has the right dance partner. He needs someone like Carl Froch next to him.
Going to be interesting, exciting times ahead. This is why we love this sport so much, Terry.
Why we're on the hard road.
Yeah, let's do it in the ring or on the hard road. Sandy Ryan, she won. What do you think lies ahead for her? They're talking about a world title in 12 months. What do you think?
So I saw this fight. I was watching it while traveling. I like Sandy Ryan. I like her. She came in incredible shape, actually. She looked really, when someone just looks like they've been training their nuts off. And I said, actually, yeah. And I've met her in person. She's the perfect size for light welter or welter. Absolute. She's a lump of a woman. Like, I can imagine she could do some damage if you said the wrong thing to her. In that fight yesterday, it was tough because the woman just came to spoil. So we never got to see the best of Sandy Ryan. Yeah. So I'm going to hold off judgment for a bit. She did look a bit underpowered, but we'll see if that comes with time and confidence. But I'd like to see her fight Sherelle Brown next, actually. Sherelle, because Sherelle will come to box, so it's not going to be messy, and it will be, okay, who's got the highest skill level here? So I think the Sherelle Brown fight's a good one for Sandy at this point. And, if they can make the right deal to Sherelle, I'm sure she'll take it.
Do you feel that DAZN will be around in 2 years in UK? Because after that yesterday, I mean, they were shouting off and all this for the last few months about hashtag game change and all that. Well, yeah, it's changed, but it's not changed for worse, not changed for the better, has it, Terry? Do you think?
Ooh, it's their first attempt, so let's hold off until the big guns come out. Right? Let's see what happens when he has to do arena shows. Let's see what we get then. Because for me, Fight Camp feels like a bit of a throwaway. And my take on Fight Camp, Russ, was it was necessary last year when you couldn't get crowds in, but you wanted to get your guys out. And then I think the kind of public opinion for Fight Camp went to Eddie Hearn's head, and he thought, I could just do this every year. But now that we've got access to other things we could go and watch, and you're doing this during the Olympics when there's actual real boxing happening and high-level boxing happening, that Fight Camp just felt a bit cheap.
Didn't it?
I think he got the timing wrong. I feel it was like Icarus flying too close to the sun with this one. And I think it's kind of damaged the perception of both Matchroom and DAZN. And it's reinforced, actually. The real winners last night were Sky.
Yeah. What's that photo on? Is that a Froch one?
Nah. It's our mate. It's our favorite immigration caseworker.
Oh, is it Paul Hindley?
Yeah.
Paul Hindley, who works up at Rotherham.
As an immigration caseworker, that's the very one. Yeah. He seems to think Well, you know,
Paul,
he did what?
evening Paul Hindley at Jazz.
Is it Jazz Paul 1981? So you're gonna be 40 next year.
No, it's at Jazz Paul 1982, isn't it, on Twitter? Yeah, he's renowned as one of the biggest trolls in boxing. So at Jazz
Troll, racist, whatever you want to call him, he's a nasty piece of work.
At Jazz Paul 1982. I'll be coming to see you soon. Just thought I'd let you know. So, all right then. How can I explain this now? I've not missed any, have I? Anthony Fowler. Bueller. Ferris Bueller.
So I kind of like Fowler. Like as a character, I find I can always watch Fowler. He's funny, he's interesting, he's entertaining. Yeah. There's something about him when he boxes, and it doesn't seem like Shane has fixed this problem. He's not very accurate with what he does.
Yeah.
He kind of just lets punches go for the sake of it. So well, what are you actually trying to hit? And so when I watch Fowler, yes, he throws a lot of punches, but a lot of them just hit forearms and arms and shoulders and hips. And it's all a bit messy, but there's a good fighter in there somewhere. If you can just sort of strip back the nonsense, there's a really good boxer under there.
Do you feel that he gets his game plans wrong, Anthony Fowler, and gets caught up in the moment?
I think he believes in this idea that he's too big and too strong for everyone at 154.
Yeah.
And so he boxes like that. He boxes like he's this big bully. And that's what cost him against Fitzgerald. If he stuck to what he's actually really good at, which is good fundamental boxing, just loads of 1-2s, and then when it's available, take a left hook or a left uppercut. If he stuck to that and had a bit of defense, he hasn't really got a defense, which is part of his problem. So he'll never be elite. Like he'll never be a guy who fights, I don't know, Tony Harrison, for example. He won't fight a Tony Harrison because guys like Harrison will pick him off and they can all hit hard. Do you know what I mean? At world level, Fowler's not a power puncher.
I spoke to Carl Froch some years ago about Anthony Fowler, obviously when he was he captain of Team GB or something at one point?
In 2016, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously he done a lot of sparring with Carl. And Carl was saying to me that he couldn't get near him for 3 rounds in sparring. Then after that, obviously, it was a different story. But apparently, they're the same weight. They walk around the same weight. But yeah, one fight's at, I don't know what he fought at in Olympics. Is it because it's not 154 in Olympics?
75 kilo.
It's what?
75 kilo.
So it's 165 then, isn't it?
About that, yeah.
Yeah. So now he's fighting at £9 less than he did in Olympics, whereas Froch were a 168. So, but he's now, instead of being a middleweight or stepping up to super, he's like a 154, isn't he? So, but yet he's got older since 2014. So how's that work, Terry?
Hey, aggressive weight cuts, you can do them. I've always said Fowler should have fought as a middleweight. I think he'd have had more success as a middleweight. I think he might carry more menace as a middleweight. But then the problem is he'll grow into middleweight and then you go, why doesn't he do super middle? So 154, he's lucky because there are no real monsters. But then in the UK, there are no real monsters at middleweight either, apart from Felix Cash and Denzel Bentley. So you could go up to middleweight, win a quick British title or something, and then try pushing your luck for world level there. I don't know. Fowler's just, he's running out of time to make an impact, man. Otherwise, he's just going to be this guy who fills cards up. Like he's got Beefy next, hasn't he?
He's not been an headline guy yet, has he? Really?
Headlines in Liverpool, doesn't he?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but he's not really been a main guy, has he? A side yet, has he? More or less.
None of this 2016 lot are really headliners, and we're 5 years after the Olympics for those guys, and none of them are headliners. The real worry is this 2020 lot are going to shoot straight past them. Yeah,
that's what I was thinking this morning, because he's into final now, isn't he? One of them, Ben
Whittaker. Yeah.
Fraser Clark's fighting for semi-final now, so he's guaranteed the bronze, isn't he?
Yeah. So now you've got these guys who are going to come home with medals. Ben should get the gold.
Yeah.
And Russ, how long have I been saying that this guy's the real deal?
You've been saying this for over 2.5 years, haven't you?
5 years.
No, but for the last 2.5 years, you've been putting on my channel, haven't you, about Ben Whittaker?
Yeah. Yeah. When I first saw him at the Haringey in 2015, I remember, I said to his coach, Joby, I said, I will literally kidnap this kid tonight because this is what I've been looking for. And then I just watched him. ABA 2016, won it easily. That was easy money I made off my mate of mine. I bet him 100 quid that Ben Whitaker wins it. And then after that, I just said, this guy he could have done the Olympics in 2016 and done really well. He's just got that. He's got the least British skill set I've seen in a boxer in a long time because he can do it all. And I really admire that about him. So you guys, if you watched this before he gets in for the gold medal fight, get behind Ben Whitaker. We do not have a talent that special anywhere else.
It'll be gagging for him, won't it? But I think Sky will be in for him, as well.
And I think after Saturday, they'll just say to Ben Whitaker, you got two options. You can be with Hearn, and Hearn will build you up on a really small platform that won't get any traction here. Or you can be with Sky, and we will show you to the world. Do you see what I mean? Because if Sky have that link up with ESPN, then, those cards are getting played on both sides of the Atlantic. And when you're Olympic gold medalist, which I hope Ben becomes, that's exactly where you want to be.
Do you feel, Terry, that Eddie Hearn's made a big mistake with DAZN because what we're going to get now, we're going to get Sky and ESPN sharing the spoils, and there's no love lost between Aram and Hearns, is there? And do you feel that Eddie Hearns jumped in with DAZN for a quick, but a lot of money, but he could be on the outside looking in 2 years down the line, do you think?
So here's Hearn's problem. He has to deliver everything for that platform because Golden Boy are looking at their options now, right? So Golden Boy are basically like, well, do we need to be on DAZN or can we go to Showtime or somewhere else, right? Because if I'm Oscar, that's what I'm thinking. He hasn't been treated well. The whole Canelo thing was a bit of a kick in the face for him.
Yeah.
So there's that issue. So that's going to leave Hearn having to carry the whole load for DAZN. You look at the UK, for example, BT are struggling. Like the BT cards are trash. Right? There's no calling what they're trash, man. They're cards for hardcores. Like there's no mainstream appeal in any of those shows apart from Joe Joyce. That's really where they've got their mainstream appeal at the moment. But they don't have a US partner, do they? So they struggle. Sky have got ESPN, so you're getting big fights regardless. US fights, UK fights, and you get access to that library as well. So if there was another lockdown and there was no boxing, we've got the ESPN library on Sky. Sky aren't stupid, you see, Porky. Yeah. And then Channel 5, I just have a feeling we're going to see an Al Heyman link up with Channel 5. So we're going to be able to watch the best of the UK and the best of the US without having to bother with Eddie Hearn. That's his problem at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, then. Let's just back up a little bit then. So Anthony Fowler won. He made hard work of it, though, didn't he, really?
Yeah, we didn't even know who this guy was, if we're being honest. And, Fowler's still no closer to fighting a guy like Ted Cheeseman. So what's he doing with his career?
Well, he's going to fight Beefy Smith in 10 weeks.
Beefy will chew him up, man. Like you know how Beefy loves those left hooks to the body. Yeah, Fowler's going to get tested in that one.
Yeah, I think that's an hard fight for Anthony Fowler. It reminds me of a kid that's caught in a... I think Anthony Fowler's caught between a rock and a hard place, really, because he did a lot of damage to his career on social media when he first turned pro. Do you remember? He rubbed everybody up the wrong way, and if you rub the hardcores up the wrong way, it's like a cancer, isn't it?
Do you remember when he was making fun of Eubank, going, I could beat any of Eubank's opponents with one hand behind my back?
Yeah. And then we
don't believe that anymore, do we?
No, and then Fitzy nailed him, didn't he?
It wasn't that he lost; it was that he got put down. But remember, he got put down in the Olympics as well, so I wasn't surprised by that either. When you're getting put down in the Olympics, we've got to start asking questions about your durability. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see what happens to him. But one thing I have heard about him off people, even Carl Froch said to me, so he trains like a Trojan. He's a really, really hard trainer. And it was what Carl needed, I think, that back end of his career when he was up there chasing them around running track and things like that. So like Whippets.
You know what it is, Pork? When people tell me someone's a hard trainer, like now I don't really care because there are loads and loads of people who can get on a bike and cycle hundreds of miles every month, right?
Yeah.
There are loads of people who can go to the gym and lift weights. There's only one Mr. Olympia. There's only one winner of the Tour de France. So there's a big difference between being a hard trainer and developing from that training. And a lot of guys don't develop from their training because their training is not set up for them to develop. And I don't think Fowler has a mindset where he's trying to develop, because that's what you want, really. I wouldn't train for the sake of training. I'm always training to get better at something.
Mm. Yeah, exciting times ahead, Terry. Moving on.
What about Thingy? Oh, Lee Wood.
Yeah, I'm coming up to that now, but I wanted to speak about the Tommy McCarthy, Chris Billam-Smith fight and the McGuigan-Frampton intense beef.
That was kind of funny, though, wasn't it? You know, I'm not going to lie. So I'm going to shout out Harley Marshall, right? Young kid doing his channel, you know, doing his thing, man. He's probably Porky. He's probably like the next Porky, you know, like when you hang up your camera. I mean, young Harley Marshall will hopefully be the voice of the hardcores. But he put me onto that. He's like, mate, you won't believe what's happening in Billam-Smith's dressing room. I'm like, what? He sent me the picture. And it was just the look that Frampton had, like, you know, he's in there to just mess with them. Because they all used to be mates. Like, you see the picture there? When we used to go down to George's gym for sparring, everyone used to be in there. You see what I mean, Russ? So you'd walk into the gym, Carl's there, Josh is there, Shane, Barry's there, the brothers are there as well. Frampton's missus will be there occasionally. Shane's missus, I think it was Sophie Lenniston, was there. It was such a nice environment, man. It was, you looked forward going into the sparring because you're there talking about stuff. You're just talking about everything, and it was good. And they were genuinely mates, Russ. Like, wasn't Frampton best man when Shane married Sophie? Do you see what I mean? They were mates. And while they're mates, like, people are messing with Frampton's money behind his back. So that must run really, really deep. And
listen,
so
mate, close mates in boxing don't mean anything where there's money concerned, because some people can't help themselves, and this is why I never really wanted to handle any money when I worked at Dennis. I said, I don't want to be involved in any money situations. I don't want to be involved with talks with it. I just want to learn off you. And Dennis didn't have a problem with that, but I used to hear stories about what had gone on in the past and that, and we've spoke about a few of the stories, and I'd be like, they actually did what? And the thousands in ticket money and fighters being robbed left, right, and centre. And look, money reaches into the core of people. It reaches right into the core and inside you. And I hoped when I started with him, I could make a change. But I think boxing has to change for itself. I mean, how's Carl Frampton allowed himself to be in a position where they're controlling his money? For example, I spoke at length about this with Carl Froch. The Jones fight ain't happening because the money's not there. He's not going to put his son on offer if the money's not going to be there. You could fight and not get paid. And all the way through his career, he's always been on the ball about getting paid. Now, how can Frampton be in a position where somebody's controlling his money? Hasn't he made that mistake himself?
Carl Froch was an accounts payable guy. He used to do accounts payable and stuff like that before he got on the GB squad, when he was kind of working his way up. So during his ABA run, he was he like accounts assistant at NTL or something like that?
You mean that like a BT sort of thing?
Yeah.
I've not RTL. It's something like that. I forgot what it's called.
Yes, it's NTL.
North, isn't it? Yeah, he worked in an office. Yeah, Carl. Yeah.
Yeah. And he did accounts.
He worked in a call centre.
No, he did accounts. Something like that. Something like
that. You know, he answered calls, but he did some sort of work like that. He wasn't an accountant though, but he has got a degree in sports science. He's a pretty smart guy, right? So he's on the ball, wasn't he, about what to do with his money?
Yeah, whereas Carl, remember, like, number one, you're working with Barry McGuigan. So for Frampton, that's his hero. Like, Barry's a massive hero. Shane's his mate. You're not suspicious at this point. You're like, they've done so much for me. Why would they rob me? And then what tends to happen, you know this, Porky, yeah? Someone someone messes up somewhere, and then the paperwork needs to be examined. Then Carl's like, this doesn't make sense.
I've heard horror stories, mate. Horror stories of people being left in control in boxing. This is up at Dennis's. I'm not going to mention names. I think I might have mentioned in other videos. People being left in control of loads of money, thousands of pounds worth of money, and sometimes you have to put your trust in people.
It's like smallpox. It's like a sickness, isn't it? It's like real like chicken pox, isn't
it? Yeah. You know, don't say his name on it, you'll get me into trouble. But the point I want to make is that people need to sometimes take charge. And I think that when Carl Froch started in boxing, he set his stall out and said, right, what am I getting? When am I getting it? And what time am I getting it? If that money wasn't there at that time, he'd want to know why. And that's good.
So here's the challenge, though. So here's the challenge, Porky. Froch only ever dealt with the promotional company. Whereas Carl, so when Frampton fights on Sky, for example, let's say Carl fights on a Matchroom show. He's doing that under the auspices of Cyclone. So the money can't go to Carl because the contract's not with Carl. That was the problem. So the problem was the money would go into an account, which was meant to be for Cyclone Promotions, but the money was going into, from what the court case said, so I don't want people saying I'm spreading rumors, the court case said the money was going into Barry McGuigan's personal account.
All right, is that why? Well, I haven't read up on all this. I didn't want to read up on it because I had a Barry McGuigan Adidas poster on my wall as a kid. You know, the 1985 World Featherweight Champion. It were like an Adidas cagoule, and everybody wore them at the time in the 80s. And I used to think Barry McGuigan, what best thing since sliced bread. So I couldn't bring myself to read it. But Barry McGuigan's not been done with anything, as it is settled out of court. So we can't be casting aspersions, can we, Terry?
Well, no, but we can say what was said in court.
Oh, go on then. What was said?
So no. So that was evidence that they provided evidence. That's why they had to settle. This was evidence that was provided in court. So they showed the structure of what was happening. So if Carl fights in the US on an Al Heyman show, the money would go down from whatever Heyman's entity is down to Cyclone, and then Cyclone would then have to pay Carl, and then they'd take their deductions. And so that structure is fine. So there are a lot of people who do that. So, for example, the Rolling Stones work like that. So the Rolling Stones contract as a company, right, when they do world tours and stuff, and then the money gets divvied up. Same with Anthony Joshua. Joshua doesn't get paid directly. He gets paid through things like Sparta Promotions, and then he gets his money through that. So the system works. But when you're putting money into someone's personal account, that's already a red flag to me. And then I look at Carl and say, Carl, you should have been doing your accounts every month. You should have been checking, where's the money? Where is this? Where is that? That's how you identify where there are problems. You will know if your promoter is disciplined if they can provide you with a statement every month of, you know, what you've been paid, what's been deducted, and for what.
So do you think it was just Barry McGuigan being lackadaisical and not being on the ball, or do you think he set out to rip him off?
Do you remember when you and I talked about this, right when I first told you this was coming?
Yeah, you did. You said it before anybody got served papers, didn't you?
I said, well, no. I said it before the guy fell in the shower, Russ. Do you remember? It was after the Eubank fight. Was it Abraham fought? About, God, when was I? Was it 2018?
Yeah, there were friction though, then weren't there?
No, whoa, everything was hunky-dory, right? And then I told you I was in the pub, and the guy was telling me, Frampton's going to leave McGuigan. I was like, and I said to the guy, what do you even know? And he pulled out the pictures of him with Carl and Carl's dad and the whole family. And he was telling me that there's something not right with the money, and Carl's not happy. And then it wasn't long after that he resigned as a director of Cyclone. And then that's when it was like, okay, it's about to start now.
Well, he were watching one of them watching each other wrap hands or some or whatever. Somebody's
hands. So Frampton was watching Philip Smith's hands get wrapped. And remember, these guys are all mates, right? Well, they were all mates at one point. And then Barry comes in to the other changing room to supervise the hand wrapping. It was crazy, you know. It was good to see the tension and the discomfort between everyone.
And it was a good fight, wasn't it, between them? Wasn't it, Tommy McCarthy and Bill and Smith? I'd like to see that again.
I thought that would be the fight of the night. Like their styles mesh well. They're about the same level. They're about the same age. I'd like to see that again, or I'd like to see them throw someone like Isaac Chamberlain into that mix as well, where it's just
I would. I like
entertaining fights. Yeah, they're all guys who come to fight. Like there's none of this. I'm going to run around the edge of the ring. None of that. We've come to fight. We've come to entertain.
Would you like to see Shaq and Peters in mix?
If he wants to move up to cruiserweight, yeah.
Yeah, I would. Because he'd be a good cruiserweight, him, I think, do you?
Yeah, well, where's Riakpo? All this stuff's happening. Riakpo's beating both of these guys. I'm like, Richie, get involved.
Yeah. All right, then. So after that, we had the main event, wasn't it? Lee Wood?
Against Can Shu.
Can Shu, or Zhu Can, or whatever they call him. Probably the worst ever world champion to come over here since Charlie Martin. Do you agree?
I like Charles Martin, so I can't agree with that. He's probably the worst. Yeah, it was. So here's the thing, Russ. I like your thoughts on this. How do you feel if you're Josh Warrington, right? Because Warrington sat there and he's like, I could have had that fight. I could have had that fight. I'd have had 2 belts, and then my legacy would have been secure. Instead, Eddie gives me some 22-year-old Mexican. We can't find any video footage of him. And clearly someone has told Eddie that this guy's a killer. And if I'm Warrington, I'm sat there going, I think Hearn tried to punish me for leaving the plantation. And then they give that same belt to Lee Wood. So Josh Warrington, the guy that fought Frampton, Selby, and God knows who else, right? He's got good names on his record. He now has to fight this Mauricio Lara kid. And if he wins that, he gets to fight Lee Wood. If I'm Josh Warrington, I'm like, how did my career end up like this?
This is how I look at it, right? Josh Warrington's team have to put their hands up and say, we should have said to Eddie, no, we can't find any footage of him. We're going to pass up on this opportunity. They were world champion and they were risking everything to get in with somebody who they couldn't find anything about. Why do that? But nobody was strong enough, were they? And Eddie were even it score up because they left before, didn't they? Messed him about. Just like he's even it scored up with Beefy Smith. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. They've got long memories. Like Eddie's got a long memory. You don't go back there and think everything's going to be hunky dory. Do you know what I mean? That's just
no. He'll bury you. And look at it as it like this. Who's the real winner in all of this mess? It's Eddie Hearn, right? Because now Hearn's got Galahad where he wants him. He's got Warrington begging for an opportunity. He's got Lee Wood grateful as hell for that opportunity. Hearn's the one that wins in all of this.
There's people in boxing at the moment whispering that Galahad and Yazza Dickens, if it's a close fight, they're going to have a rematch. I mean, could you imagine if that were given as a draw, and it wasn't a draw, but they give it as a draw, and they rematched again? They'd be hell on, wouldn't they?
Yeah, you know Ian John Lewis is being set up to do the 116, 112 just in case.
Ian John Lewis is going to be the third judge.
Isn't he always? You know, whenever I hear a split decision, I'm like, there's going to be an Ian John Lewis scorecard here and it's going to be wrong.
What's happened to Ian John Lewis? Isn't he getting investigated by FBI or some MI5 or something? How is he even allowed to be involved in boxing after some of the stinkers? I mean, he's the Jonah or the Albert Trotter, should I say, of boxing, isn't he? He is, isn't he? If you let him loose on a ship, he'd sink it. He's like Albert Trotter, but I don't know what's happened to him, Ian John Lewis, and everybody thinks just because he's been a boxer that he's gonna do a good job, but because he's been a boxer, he knows that he has to keep these certain people sweet, doesn't he? It's probably even worse that he has been a boxer, isn't it? Do you think?
I've always thought this idea that because you're a boxer, it makes you better at doing certain things is ridiculous. In the same way that me being a chef doesn't make me a good waiter, or me being a good waiter doesn't make me a good chef. Like, completely different skill sets. Like, the knowledge can be helpful, but the skills are so different that, you know, the knowledge is almost secondary to that.
You see, my argument with Ian John Lewis's scorecards and his officiating is when he makes a massive boo-boo, a massive mistake, 48 hours later, nobody's even speaking about it on the Monday. People just accept it, don't they? If that were football, it'd be dragging on and on and on every day, and it'd be on back pages, on front page, it'd be on news, it'd be terrorised, wouldn't it, by the nation.
You know what, Porky? And this is what Eddie Hearn has now realised. Not a lot of people care about boxing.
No, nobody cares enough, do they? Only us.
Yeah. He went off to the zone assuming that there were 50 million people out there who, if you just told them that boxing existed, would watch, not realizing that most of this country knows what the hell boxing is. They just choose not to watch it. It doesn't interest them. And it doesn't interest them mainly because of what Eddie Hearn's done for the last 10 years.
So we get to Lee Wood then. He won the fight. The guy were poor, wasn't he? Let's have it right. We agree on that, don't we?
Oh, he was terrible. He was embarrassing.
The guy were poor. They picked a patsy for him, but I had the guy to win because I just didn't think Lee Wood could bridge the gap from British Commonwealth level to world. But that guy were like, he wasn't even British level, the guy he fought. What it was that bad, wasn't it?
There's a word for it. I think it's just Baba.
Baba. But as Lee Wood's done not wrong, he can only fight who's in front of him. He knocked him out in 12. Good luck to him. Is Ben Davidson now going to let Lee Wood have his moment, or is he going to be doing sermons on Boxing Social, Behind the Gloves, IFL, DAZN, and fight 5 seconds out?
But here's the thing, Russ. I don't think anyone's watching that stuff anymore, because what the lockdown told people was a lot of this stuff is just nonsense. And don't underestimate how important the episodes we were doing about fake numbers were.
Oh yeah.
Because once we exposed them for faking the numbers, you suddenly realize it's not a big deal. These guys are not a big deal. They've basically pulled the wool over boxing fans' eyes for a long time, because boxing fans would follow IFL and Boxing Social because they genuinely believed they were part of something bigger. And now you realize when you peel these numbers away, you go, nah, this is all fake. This is all massaged figures, you know. And
to me, are they really at the moment? A lot of them channels, they get the access to the big people. But for July, I've done 250,000 views in 30 videos. So work that out. It's over 8,000 each video, isn't it? Obviously, not every video is 8,000, but they must be looking at other stuff, other back catalogue stuff. So they were 250,000 views in 30 videos. So I'm happy with that. It's not my best, but
you're killing it, mate. I love Russ. I always say to you, I remember when these were doing 200-300 views. So you can't. I mean, it's from small acorns, mighty oaks grow.
Do you know what? It's funny actually, because Dominic Ingalls said something a few years when I took it on board. He said, anything in life, consistency is the key. And then Bunny said it to me about training. And I've found that it is. You just got to keep chipping away, getting up in the morning, go doing your thing, and keep chipping away. And eventually you'll break the egg, won't you?
Mate, I remember starting on the New Age podcast, and like we'd be happy with 300 spins a week.
I know, yeah.
And I remember when we did our last few, like that run towards the end, and you were hitting 3K just on SoundCloud, and I was like, who would have thought it? Absolutely insane. And it was just from being consistent. We did it every Sunday. We found a way to make it happen.
Yeah.
And so so we became part of people's habit. That's why I always try and record something at least once a week, because I'm part of your routine. The minute I'm not part of your routine, you'll fill that space with something else, and I may never get back in. Too many people now, and I see this because people ask for my advice on this stuff. Too many people want to start a boxing channel and get to 50,000 views on every video within a week. And if they don't get to 50,000 within a week, they just give up. And they don't realize that you've got to build, and you got to build it in public. Like, you got to meet people. People have to like you. And then you got to share your links and stuff. And then you start to build it that way.
You've got to go and put yourself out there. You've got to have. You need a few quid as well to do it properly. Obviously, I've been fortunate, but there's a lot of people that. Arlie Marshall, HJM Boxing, he's taking time out from his channel, and I've just sent him a text now. So it's harder than what you think, Arlie, isn't it? He's only a young lad.
How come he's taking time out?
I don't know. He just said he's not doing any for a bit. He's got a job as well, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, I am. So I'll talk to him, because the thing with him I always found was, and I said this to him. I sent him a little voice note, and I said, "Be the star of your own channel. Don't keep looking for people to interview. Don't be the star of your own channel, and then boxers will come on because they know that you can elevate them. You know, like I'll give you an example. I look at my numbers, right? My top 5 episodes ever don't have any guests on them. It's just me. My top 5 is just me. So I don't need guests, but I will get people on, Russ, when I feel I can have a different conversation with them than they used to. And so the fans get to see a different side. Yeah. If I can't do that with someone, I won't interview them.
Yeah. I think that it's harder than what people think, just starting a YouTube channel. You've got to have an angle. You've got to create a little bit of controversy, haven't you? I noticed some people were abusing me this morning about some comments that have come out when I'm talking to Max, but I ain't got no bad in my heart to Max. I'm just trying to try a different angle, and Max understands that because we spoke about it. But he's a nice kid, actually. But I'm not or anything like that. Otherwise, I won't be taking him out to Gaslamp and saying, "Oh, do what you want, Max."
Yeah, but you know what else, Russ?
Yeah.
If you don't have haters, you're never going to grow.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah.
So when people say to me, "Oh, what do you think about Danny Connor going at you or Sonny Edwards?" I say, I love it, because there's Danny being the sad, bitter ex-boxer that he is, taking shots. And I'm like, do your thing, right? And then Sonny wants to jump in and have his little moment. Do your thing. It doesn't do me any harm. Like, them getting involved increases the numbers, man. I've got an IBF world champion mentioning me. How do I lose in that situation? I don't.
Yeah.
But it shows you how powerful the brand is, because they could easily ignore me if they wanted to.
Yeah.
And that's what you've got, Russ. Even when they say they don't listen to Porky's Corner, we know they do.
Oh, they're listening, mate. They're listening, aren't you all? I've got their attention.
Yeah.
I ain't got no bad in my heart for them, but I don't want to hear bullshit and people. There's too many liars, cheats, and vagabonds in boxing. I want to flush them all out, mate. The fighters are the most important thing, not the fucking promoters. The fight should come first. They should be paid on the night from anything from 1,500 quid up to 150 grand. I think it's only a ballot. It's only a touch of a button on a phone to transfer the money. So I don't want to hear any of this. Oh, it takes a few weeks and we're waiting for this, we're waiting for that. It's utter poppycock. Unless it's pay-per-view, it should be paid on the night. But promoters like to hold on to the money, don't they, and keep the interest in the banks. But that's another story way back east. So the overall show then, Lee Wood won. The overall show, I'm going to give it a 6, Terry. What do you think?
Yes, this is fair. If that had just been a standard Saturday fight night on Sky, I wouldn't have complained.
You wouldn't have complained, no?
Nah.
Okay, then.
And considering the main event fell through, that was the difference as well.
Yeah,
the main event fell through.
Yeah. What do you think about Ben Davidson? Is he going to be unbearable now, or do we have to give him a pat on back?
I've always said, look, Ben's doing his thing. He's a young guy. He's training. Yeah. My test for any trainer is you got to take something from zero, like zero.
Yeah.
And then I can make a judgment on Ben.
Okay. The pundits, Maya Jama turned up in a 21-plate top-at-range Bentley. Why did she get the red carpet treatment, pulling up in that car like that, and nobody else did? Is she supposed to be some big superstar in America or something?
I imagine she's got her own money, Russ. Like Maya Jama is not short of a few quid.
All right. Is it true that Joshua's going out with you?
there were rumors that something happened between them. I've heard those rumors. I don't know if they're true or not. But if you're Anthony Joshua, you're a young man, you're one of the most desirable men in the country, and she's considered one of the most attractive, I'm sure a couple of messages have gone back and forth.
Okay. Do you think the cringe factor were a bit, poor? Did you have it down as cringe of the show last night? Some of the things that were going on behind the scenes, the overall production and stuff, and nobody really knew what they were doing, did they? Kind of thing. Do you think it had that?
It was a bit amateur hour, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the question is, will they do too much damage to the brand while they figure out how to be good? Yes or no? And if so, what do you do instead? Like I said, I can't see why DAZN wouldn't be buying BT Sport now.
What do you think about them keeping it to £2 for the rest of the year? Then it's going to go up. What do you think to that? That's the word.
Yeah, it'll go from £2 to 5.
Yeah, then 5.
And then 5 to 10. And at 10, Frank will say, but listen, we did £10 a month for Box Nation. It didn't work. And I think you're going to have the same problem with DAZN. Like, no one's paying £10 a month for essentially a standalone boxing channel.
Yeah, that's what it is when all's said and done, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't watch NASCAR and I don't watch college hockey. I don't watch any of that stuff. So it's like, hey, you only really show me boxing. That's all I'm going to be watching on DAZN. I'm not watching any shoulder content. I'm not watching, Eddie Hearn's Cribs. I'm not watching anything like that. I'm just watching boxing.
Eddie Hearn's what? Cribs?
Yeah.
Is Eddie Hearn still going through with the camera people following him around all day for match unboxing? Is that Darren Barker and Chris Lloyd? Apparently they're going to film him from him leaving his house in the morning to go in bed at night, and it's going to be over a few weeks or something. Do you think they'll still go through with that?
I think they'll film it and then they'll make a decision on whether to release it or not. I imagine it'll just be boring as hell because all the stuff we're interested in, he's never had the heart to tell us on IFL. So why would he now tell us on Matchroom? I don't think he would.
All we're going to get is Eddie Hearn ordering the cheeky Nando's at airports and stuff like that, aren't we?
Yeah, and kissing his daughters, kissing his wife, and it's stuff we don't care about. We want to see him in there trying to negotiate.
Peloton, is it? Peloton, whatever they call it, that cycle game.
Yeah.
Going to be on Peloton, Eddie in hotel on Peloton, and Eddie having a Costa and all that, and I'm Eddie, and make it about me. And do you think it might be overkill? Do you think he might just be falling in love with himself too much?
I think he overestimated how important he was. And he like I said, he gambled and lost with Sky because Sky were basically saying, look, we've backed you.
Yeah.
And you still can't give us the numbers we've been asking for. And Eddie said, you need me. And Sky said, I don't think we do. And so he said, I'm going to go and do it myself. You find another Eddie Hearn. And they said, well, we've got one waiting in the wings. So good luck.
Where does all this leave Dillian White, the can man? Anybody who wants it can get it. As long as they're over 40.
Meant to be fighting September 11th, right? Now, he's not going to fight a top-ranked guy because Bob ain't going to do that. He's not going to fight a PBC guy, I don't think, because why would Al do Eddie a favor? So now you got to find all these guys who are unattached, and what are you going to do with them? Then there's no one really that good who's unattached. I don't know if Michael Coffey won over the weekend, but would you put him in with like a Michael Coffey? That would be an interesting fight because they're both guys who came to the sport late. Michael Coffey's an ex-Marine, so it's a nice story in America. So that might make some sense. But if I'm being honest with you, I think Dillian's in a bit of a bind. I think they'll find someone who's old with a name. He might even have to fight Luis Ortiz.
You think that he might be in a bit of a hole now, Dillian? He's sort of like, he can't get to Fury because he's tied up with legal issues with Wilder. He can't get to Joshua. And he could get beat against any of the other guys hovering around those two, couldn't he?
Okay, so let's map out the heavyweight title picture to the end of this year.
Yeah.
Fury and Joshua have fights for this year. They're not going to fight twice this year. Next year, the expectation is that they'll fight each other. And I genuinely think that will happen next year. So now that takes us to this time next year. And then at that point, whoever's got the belts, I imagine, will just scatter them because you don't need them. And then will Dillian be one of the contenders for the belts? The answer is I don't think so. I don't think the WBC want him to hold their belt. So will Eddie put it forward for a WBA, an IBF, or a WBO? Don't know. It just seems that he's in that awkward place of he needs to make his own luck now. So I think the Ortiz fight is kind of his. Once he gets the Ortiz fight, there's no argument against having Dillian fight for a world title. None at all.
Okay. Do you remember on New Year's Eve we did a video and you gave me a list of fights, 10 fights that you want to see in 2021? Well, we're into the 8th month of the year now, and I'm going to read them out to you, Terry. You ready?
Sure.
Craig Richards, Boatsi, not happened. Joyce.
That might still happen.
Yeah, Joyce against Dylan White.
That won't happen.
Arthur Johnson, Callum Johnson, Lyndon Arthur. Sonny Edwards, Yafai.
Why is no one talking about that, actually?
What, Sonny Edwards, Yafai?
Yeah.
Exactly, because Yafai's parked up, isn't he? Savannah Marshall, Clarissa Shields.
Nowhere near that fight happening.
Josh Warrington, Dogbo.
Should have happened.
Billy Joe Ryder rematch.
That's probably going to happen.
Huey Fury versus Hunter.
Be a good fight.
Chris Congo versus Josh Kelly.
I can see that for next year.
Isaac versus Billum. I'm assuming that's Chris Billum Smith, Isaac Chamberlain.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the 10. So none of them 10, Terry, on your wish list have actually happened.
And name me the fights there that are hard to make.
None. They're pretty easy to make. I mean, Peter Fury and Savannah Marshall are gagging for that Clarissa Shields fight. And Eddie Hearn said he could deliver when he signed Huey to a deal and he signed Savannah Marshall to a deal. Well, why can't Eddie deliver? He's supposed to be the cam man, isn't he? The $1 billion Eddie with all the billions from the zone. And he can't deal with these Americans. And do you know why? Because they don't want to fucking work with him, do they? Because he's upset that many people with how he speaks to people. You've obviously met him a few times yourself at shows, haven't you? I've met him several times. He's very cringe and me. He's very hard to get on with, right? And if you don't like, if you don't arse lick him, there's no down for you. And do you know what it is, Ross? You're not going to get any change out of Peter Fury if he wants being arse licked, because there's not that type of person. So maybe not getting the Savannah, not getting the fights because they don't kiss arse. I don't know. I know it's a lot of kiss arses around Eddie. They seem to get on, don't they, in boxing, don't they? I don't know.
I think so. One of the things in my life, I used to manage a call center, right? And we used to always say you can tell the difference between the inbound salespeople and the outbound salespeople.
Why's that?
Like complete different breeds, right? Outbound salespeople are basically Eddie Hearn, right? Yeah. They're the sort of people, they'll finish their work on a Friday, know they've nailed their commission, hit the pub straight after work, few lines up their nose, drink till they can't remember anything, cause havoc, do it all again Saturday, maybe even Sunday, come back in and crack on, right? They have no concept of yesterday and no concept of tomorrow. They just live in the moment.
Yeah.
That's what Hearn does. He lives in the moment. And so he doesn't think, actually, what's going to happen one day if we need to do business with Wilder? Because if Hearn hadn't been such an idiot, if Tyson Fury hadn't been such an idiot, I'm sure that Fury-Joshua fight could have happened. Because if you remember, Shelly Finkel said something like, they didn't even make us an offer to step aside.
I know, yeah. This just come out, that, hasn't it, now, over day.
How stupid.
Who's at fault, then? Who's at fault, really? Do you think it's Fury with all his lies, Hearn with all his lies and rubbing people up the wrong way, or Finkel? Because if you look at all them, and Aram, he lies like fuck, doesn't he? The only person who's kept his powder dry and keeps it cool is Al Heyman. He don't really play his hand, does he?
I think he does, but he does it behind the scenes. So just from the bits I know about Al Heyman, what Al will do is he will say, this is my advice. If they offer us X amount of million, we'll step aside. Yeah. We know what that fight's worth. So now we can set our price and we just sit back. Arum and Fury's team basically said, we ain't even going to offer you anything. We're just going to beat you. And so Heyman then goes, well, if we're going to fight you anyway, we're going to make good money regardless. So, all right, that's on us. But now if you lose, you've blown your whole situation. So Al's like, I'm sure Al just said to Deontay, do you think you can beat this guy? And Deontay said, yes. It's like, okay, fine. We're no worse off. Whereas if I'm looking at Fury, I'm like, you could have paid this guy 10 mil. You could have already fought Joshua by now and you'd be wherever you are. So someone on Team Fury's side dropped the ball massively.
Do you feel that Frank Warren has come out of this smelling of roses, or really he looks like a bit of a small part player in all this, because he hasn't really had a lot to say that much. It's mainly been Arum and
I just think Frank gets pennies in the deal.
He just wants to be involved in it, doesn't he?
It's good for his status, right?
Do you see Fury leaving Warren now, or do you see... Sorry, I'll rephrase the question. And I said, I'm not going to say who I said this to. When Fury went with Warren, and I found out the day before everybody, and I said, do you know what? They'll end up in court then. Do you see them doing battle in High Court, Fury and Warren, yes or no? Or settlements? Something's bubbling in it at the moment, because Fury's not fighting. Warren's basically in no man's land at the moment, isn't he? He's trying to put Joyce in position with WBO and Dubois in position with WBA, but they're not Fury, are they? Do you see where I'm coming from? Fury, he's not relevant, is he?
Well, okay, so the upside of the whole Fury thing is he doesn't have to put money up for a Fury fight.
Yeah.
That's the big tick in the box. So that's why Frank's probably not that worried. And the longer the kind of Fury stuff goes on, people will still come to him. So it keeps him in the story without him having to spend a penny. So it's free marketing for Frank. I wouldn't be that upset. I imagine it's just a headache he doesn't need.
Yeah, but if Fury just bails out on it and says, do you know what? If I don't fight Wilder, I can't fight ever. And that's basically the deal at the moment, isn't it? That Fury's pegged in on. If Fury walks or waits while Wilder retires or gets smashed up or whatever, Heyman has got the upper hand, hasn't he, all the time? And where does that leave Warren now?
I don't think Warren, if Fury were to retire tomorrow, I don't think Warren cares. I think what would happen immediately is the energy would just move to a Joshua Wilder fight. Now, that's how irrelevant Fury could become if he's not smart.
All right, then. I'm going to ask you about another Fury now. He's just signed a deal with Showtime, hasn't he? Tommy TNT Fury. 5-0.
Smart.
Smart.
Very, very smart. Very smart.
Do you believe the rumours that Tommy's going to leave his dad? That's the rumours doing the rounds at the moment.
If he leaves his old man, he'll have to do it on the hard road.
Hard road. Well, if he leaves his old man and bases himself out there in America, his dad can't go there. Do you feel that that relationship will break down?
Nah. Look, Tommy's got a chance to be a real crossover star, right?
Yeah.
If you're a father, would you get in the way of that?
No, I wouldn't know.
Nah. Tommy Fury, like, if they play this right and he ends up fighting Jake Paul or Logan Paul, that would be a smart move, because like this guy would have gone from zero to a few million quid in the bank off nothing really, off no real record. Nah, fair play to him if he pulls it off.
There's nobody smarter than Fury is when it comes to money.
Nah, they know what they're doing. Why don't we ever see the mum?
I don't know.
We've never, we it's weird, isn't it? As a country, we feel we know the Fury family. But I'm like, where the mum at? Where is she?
Maybe she didn't want to be on camera. Okay, then. We'll finish off on this then. Daniel Dubois. What next for him, Terry, and Anthony Yard and Tunde? What's going on with that little escapade there? We'll start with Dubois. What next for him? Who's going to train him now? Obviously,
well, he's got Shane, right?
Training him, obviously, yeah. But is that going to last?
Yeah. I can see Dubois fitting in quite well with Shane, and it's just about whether the old man interferes too much. I don't think he will now, because you can't keep dragging your son around different pro gyms like you did in the amateurs. It's not productive. So Daniel's got to settle somewhere. So you may as well be around, because you're around guys like a Coley who are nominally more advanced than you, right? In terms of what they've achieved in their career. Billum Smith achieved more. You know, you're around really, really good people. So hopefully that will inspire him to be better. I still think the biggest change needed in him is moving him back to being a combination puncher. And if you can do that, he's dangerous again. But I think we're a year off talking about him as a real contender, at least a year off.
Do you feel, Terry, that it's going to be Shane McGuigan and Ben Davidson who are going to be top two trainers now in country for the next 20 years?
No chance.
No chance for both of them now.
There's so many smart, intelligent trainers who are at that level. They just need a case study. Like I look at young Billy Rumble, for example, down in Kent. And he did great things with Martin McDonough, because I saw Martin McDonough in the amateurs. So to see how far he's come, I can give Billy the credit for that, because he definitely turned him around. So definitely someone like a Martin McDonough. He's a young kid. Bobby Mitt, who's training Isaac Chamberlain down in Brixton. I know him because I've worked with him before. He's super smart. Big Donald Smith, you've seen what he does with Aiden Mohammed. He's super talented too. He just needs a case study. These are all guys who are the equal in terms of like coaching ability. They're the equal of Ben Davison and Shane. They just don't have the platform. That's the difference. There are loads of young trainers coming through now, and even some of the OGs like Pat Barrett. You know, I think the Lyndon Arthur.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, man. Pat, they're the OGs, man. They're the guys born in the 60s. So I have to show my respect. And he's still doing his thing.
You know, Pat will love that.
Look, Joe G, you still got to salute Joe. Joe's still producing.
Yeah.
And Joe seems to be hungry for another go around. So I'm not going to say these guys are going to rule the roost, because there's so much coaching talent about. Like, even young Kev Thornley down Bournemouth way, working out of Steve Bendel's situation there. Kev's a smart guy. He used to train Chris Billum Smith as an amateur before he went over to the McGuigans. That's another really good trainer. Back to the OGs. Graham Everett did great things with Fabio Wardley over in Norwich. Steve Whitwell, he's Shona Whitwell's dad, and Shona was unlucky not to be at the Olympics, but she'll be at the Commonwealth, I imagine. And Steve Whitwell's got Ian Martell, who's doing some stuff with Dennis as well. So there are loads of really talented trainers. They just need a case study, and then bang, we'll think they're the best thing in the world next. Just, you see what I mean? There's loads of coaching talent, Russ.
Yeah. Okay. Tunde Ajayi, James Cook, and Anthony Yard. What's going on there, too? What's your take on that? What's the story?
Well, remember I told you Yard would never leave Tunde.
Yeah.
When there was that energy, get rid of Tunde. I said Yard won't do that. They'll just add someone. And I thought it would be Tony Sese, but it turned out to be James Cook. Now, Tunde and James will know each other for over the years, man. Like, that's South London boxing kind of old school. So, safe pair of hands in James Cook. He's not going to rock the boat too much. And he's going to be a useful second pair of eyes in there, because Tunde's setup wasn't super experienced before. I think James brings that bit of experience. So I can see why you would do that. But we need to see what direction they want to take Anthony Yard in now.
Do you feel that Tunde and Anthony Yard will still work together?
Yeah, forever.
All right, so they're all right then. So they're not falling out or anything like that then.
Coaches and fighters fall out all the time, Russ.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, but you have to remember, Tunde tolerates a lot in exchange, so I can see that one lasting.
Exciting times ahead.
That's why we love this sport, Porky.
That's why we love this sport so much, Johnny. On the hard road.
On the hard road.
Theo versus John Fury. Do you want to see it, Terry?
Only on the hard road.
13 days.
I don't want it to be in a ring. It literally has to be like, you know, the fight scene in Rocky V.
Yeah, on the hard road.
On the hard road.
What did you think to my billboards this week?
Wait, I'm surprised you don't get a knock on your door.
Off Dennis. Dennis comes here. You won't be able to handle these shots. Dennis, you won't be able to handle these.
Now, Ron, come on, we know what Ron Lyle can do, man. He's got the uppercut. You're not ready for that uppercut that he's got.
Ron's got an uppercut. All Ron's got is a straight 1-2 into the stomach. Then he grabs you and bites you. That's all Ron's got. Isn't that right, Ron?
Nah, man, look,
Ron's a biter. Ron bit me in Bulgaria, man, when I choked him out nearly. He fucking bit me. I'm not having that again, mate.
You see the guy biting David Naika's ear in the Olympics, Pork?
Pardon?
You see the guy that bit David Naika's ear in the Olympics?
No, I didn't see that. I saw the headbutts. So Fraser Clark were taking headbutts. One of the guy got disqualified.
Yeah. No. So this guy got disqualified after the fight. So he lost, but then they just decided to disqualify him anyway because he tried to bite the guy's ear off.
Jesus. Speaking of biters, Derek Chisora bit somebody one day, didn't he? What do you see happening with Derek Chisora next? I know he's gone up he's come up here to Penfold. He's gone back there. What do you see that scenario? Because he were high-fiving Andy Alien and Warren and all them at that Queensby show, wasn't he? Joyce fight, and people were saying they were going to fight Joyce, and now they're saying he's fighting Parker. And do you think he's just sort of like at a crossroads in his life? He don't know which way to go because he's not with Hay no more, is he? What's your take on that, Terry?
Well, we've been here numerous times with Derek, haven't we? Where it's just confusion and chaos. I come back to the original question I've had before. Why exactly did he leave Don Charles? Like, what has he done differently since he left Don?
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? No, he's better strength and conditioning. Okay. But what has he really done? He hasn't done anything, man. Just go back to Don. Like, go back to where you're familiar, where you're respected, and do that and see out the rest of your career that way. A Parker fight, a Joyce fight, maybe a Dubois fight, and then call it a day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
I tell you what I think Derek does, right? I think this is smart. He keeps himself fit and he keeps himself sharp in the event that one of Joshua's opponents pulls out one day.
Yeah.
Then he's ready to step in straight away.
Yeah, I can see that happening, yeah.
So let's say something happened to Usyk, right? Dalboy's in shape to go now. And it's not a hard sell, is it? That's not a hard sell as a substitute.
What,
fight.
teacher against pupil, Chisora versus...
Yeah, exactly.
Can you imagine the scripts being wrote now by Eddie Hurls?
Yeah.
4-0 Iceman, free by fucking way off.
From Billericay.
From Billericay, ABC. If you don't believe me, ask Dominic Negus.
Don't interrupt me when I'm saying Billericay.
No, Max interrupted me when I was doing me. Adam, boo! I said, don't fucking interrupt me when I'm doing my impression of the Dark Lord. Do you remember that one? It was good, that one, wasn't it?
That was hilarious.
I was being serious. It fucking did loads of views or something on Twitter, but yeah, I had to nip it in bud. But Max is a good sport, he's got a good temperament on it, and you would like him actually. He's a nice kid actually, really level-headed. He's got a fantastic high-tech gym up there up north Yorkshire. Really,
Well, he has.
He's done well for himself. Hey, he's done really well for himself, mate. Got a nice.
Hey, ask him, man. Where's our invite? Terry and Porky come to train.
I used to have a pal up there who had a nightclub up Scarborough. I'm going back 30 years, but I don't mind going up there for a night out, but my pal's not got his club no more. We have to pay to go in somewhere. No, I'll take you up there. Next time you come up here, we'll go up there. Rico's up there at the moment, isn't he? At a wedding.
Somewhere around like North Allerton or something like that.
Yeah, Richmond. He's at Richmond, isn't it? It's not far from Scarborough. But
Okay.
yeah, let me know and we'll have a road trip on the hard road. We'll have a road trip, me, you, and Rico.
On the hard road.
Hard road. And I'll tell you another thing as well. I'm going to fight Mike Tyson. He's a proper fighting man, not some jumped up bodybuilder like you. So I'll get plenty juice down you. Big Juice said, end of bum. You like that one, don't you? I've got it off to a T, and I. You know what, Terry, right? There's some things that are going on behind the scenes with Channel at the moment are mind-blowing. So I've got to keep a pretty level head. And you know what? I've got about 15 bottles of Black Sheep in the fridge. I ain't even drunk them, mate. I'm just not interested. Because you know what I'm like. If I get some of that down me, I'm capable of anything, aren't I?
I know, man.
I'll start on my phone. I'll start ringing people. So get round here, you. So I'm having to keep a level head, but I'm pretty strict with myself at the moment. I don't know what's fucking happened to me. I just want to do well with Channel now, and I think it's all geared up now to go well.
You've kind of broken over the inertia before. Like before, it was stuck, wasn't it? Certain number of subscribers.
Yeah, I was sort of stuck at a crossroads when I sat in here swigging loads of beers, going fuck this, fuck that. Now I'm having to like plot. I've took a leaf out of Dennis's book, Scheme, Russell, Don't Scream, because whenever anything used to happen, you know what I used to like? I used to have to scrape me off ceiling. It'd be like, oh God, I've got to go back there and tell Russell this now. He's going to go fucking mad.
Yeah, but you know the thing is, Russ,
but
that's what good products are. Good products aren't too much of any one thing.
Yeah,
you've always got to keep that appeal reasonably broad, and then every so often you kind of hit your demographics. You know, you give the hardcore something savage, and you give the kind of people who are like, I don't like that hardcore stuff. You give them something a bit more user friendly, a bit more accessible.
Yeah, well, we try things, don't we? I try different things. Like I try to. It's like somebody's had a go at me. You can't slag Max off in them interviews. I'm not slagging them off Max off. He's really a good pal, but I'm trying to have a bit of banter with him. Then I'll go look at analytics and I'll see what people are turning off when I come out with certain one-liners and what people are intrigued and they keep watching. It's like I'm studying everybody's movements, and this is how we have to do it. So I know what people like and what they don't like, and this is why it's sort of going all right now, because I'm putting effort in. It's quite complicated what you can't just do a video and just sit there at home like I did at the beginning thinking, why are we not getting any views here? That were right good what I've done today. For example, I can spend £180 on a video and a production on it and think it looks brilliant. It'll do 4,000 views. On other days, I could pick my nose and do 10,000 and spend nothing on it. And I think, what the fuck? Where am I going wrong here? And,
do you know what it tells you?
What?
You're the star of your own channel.
Well, maybe you might be right there. You might be right. And I don't want it to be about me, but...
No, but it has to. How can I put it? It has to be about you, Russ.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, what's it about?
Who knows? I might get Frotch on in future. I've been waiting long enough, haven't I? Now that he's not got no media work on. Carl, I know you're watching. Come on, your time's up.
You know, I tell you that the biggest episode you can do between now and the end of the year is a reunion one with Dennis.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I mean, I know some production company that have emailed Dennis and asked him if they can come and film him and me. I'll tell you about that in a bit, and he hasn't got back to me. So he's welcome to come on. He's probably thinking I'm going to be too savage on him, which I probably will be. Dennis will want. Thing is with Dennis, when you have an interview with him, Dennis will want to know what you're going to talk about, and if you start throwing him something you don't feel comfortable with, you could end up falling out. So he'll want edits.
Do you know what you need? You need someone in the middle,
like you.
Maybe. I'm not camera friendly, though. You know that.
Well, if I did it, I'd want him in my office on my terms.
Nah, we're neutral. We'll find a boardroom in a hotel somewhere on the hard road.
The hard road.
No, so we find someone neutral. Yeah, there's you, there's Dennis, there's someone moderating, and we get to the bottom of it. Because I just genuinely believe in boxing, you got to turn conflict into content.
Maybe. Maybe, but there'd have to be a cameraman there, lighting man or whatever. I'd have it all set up. We'll even paint Bill, we'll SYPS or Stant Bill, and Dennis can have his big moment. And I'm going to throw 20 questions at him. You ain't going to tell me what I can ask him because I know I'm off by
no. That's exactly what it can't be. Someone has to be in the middle, and they got to ask Dennis a question, then they got to ask you a question. So you both got to feed your questions in.
All right, then. Well, I'm sure we could sort that out. But whether he'd be up for it or not, I don't know, because Dennis thinks I just want to attack him all the time now, which is not true.
But Dem's a good guy, man. He's been good to us, man. We need to reunite that band.
Because listen, I've been good to Dennis as well. It works both ways, Terry.
I know. But what I'm saying is, sometimes I wonder, does Dennis enjoy it as much without the old band there?
Listen, mate. He's wounded. He can't come for a pint with me, mate. He's wounded. And I've heard back he were buzzing over that billboard. That's how big his ego is, mate. His ego's off at fucking charts, mate. He'll be like, look at me in Piccadilly. But I'll give him his moment. He's got the opportunity to come on. I can't do any more. I used to love it when I was sticking Eddie and billboards up. Stuck one at Sheffield United Ground, one on Cardhouse Road, Doncaster, on Dagenham Road. So he's got his opportunity. He's welcome on. He can do it. It's got to be on my terms. I don't mind having a camera crew there and filming it, and we can do it properly. He'll get his moment. But, he can't, whatever he ain't gonna come on, I'll just keep chipping away, and eventually egg's going to break, innit? Or my head's going to break, my skull. I'll end up getting took away and putting Dennis's crusher in his scrap metal yard, Wayne. It's all good. AJ Hobson's a bit mediated in the middle because he's nephew, isn't he? And I'm close to AJ. I got on with him, so.
Oh, what's that thing they have in the scrapyard? The one that pulls all the casing off the wires? Is it like a thresher or something like that?
Oh, he's got all that. They've all got all Hobsons have got all them. That's why they made the millions, isn't it? I don't know. What is it? One of them that it folds in, doesn't it, and crushes them on, and then pops it out? Is it a car or something? Oh,
something like that. Yeah, and they used to put people's arms in there if you owed money.
Well, like Richardson's and that in South London.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll see, won't we? But listen, it's all good. I ain't got no bad in my heart towards Dennis. I just hope that the next show that he puts on in that car park, I just hope it pisses it down. So,
nah, come on, Russ.
Yeah, I fucking do. I hope it rains.
Nah, we don't, because we want boxes
to be fucking sunny if I'm not there.
Well, then you should be there. I've been saying this to you.
No, not yet. No, couldn't do it, mate. You know me, don't you?
That's old Russ, man. You got the hairline now, man. You're a different man.
All right for your kid. It's growing back, hasn't it? I've been washing that. Go and wash. Is it wash and go? Go and wash. Yeah. Reversed it. So I think that's about it. What you got planned for the rest of the day, Terry?
Man, I've got some work stuff I need to prepare, so not glamorous. I was out earlier this morning, Russ. Went to a classic car show. Basically, once a month, these guys who have classic cars just bring them down, and you get to look at them. So, guy shows up in a 911 GT3 RS. That's how you know.
What year was that? A 1970s one?
No. So this GT3 is from 2016.
Oh yeah, I don't like them. I like the early 70s one.
Yeah. So someone had a T-Reg 911 Turbo. And then there was a 1974 Mercedes 450 SLC.
Worth a few quid.
Yeah. Guy had the old Rolls Royce Corniche. Had it in light blue. I'll send you the pic of that. I'll send you some of the pics. These cars were incredible. What other classics were there? A couple of E-Type V12s.
E-Type V12, early 70s ones or late 60s.
These look like the early 70s ones.
You see, this is what I tell people, right? If people ask me about Motor Trade and that and why it ain't doing so good, and I always say to them, look, and anybody take this from somebody who knows a little bit about cars. If you want to roll the dice and try and get rich and you love cars that much, go and buy a classic. And always remember this, it's like a painting. When you sell a painting, people say, well, how come that painting's worth 100,000 and it looks like a kid's done it? And that one there looks brilliant and it's only worth £1,000. It's whatever you want to pay for it, right? For example, you know the film Donnie Brasco? You've seen that, haven't you? With Al Pacino,
Yeah.
Johnny Depp. Is it Al Pacino, Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
Well, in it, there's a guy and he's trying to sell this ring in this nightclub, and Johnny Depp gives him a good idea, and they tow his car away, don't they? It's a 911 Porsche, isn't it? Now, that particular Porsche, I can explain it. If you look, it's one of them early 70s ones, one of them types. They fetch fortunes. Now, you could go get one of them. You might get one that's not in good condition for about 30 grand, but they can fetch up to 250 grand. It's about the finish. It's all it is about the finish, the paint, everything. You've got to strip it down and build it back up. It can be time consuming. It could take you 2 years to do. But if you do it and you put your heart and soul into it, then you can ask for good money on it. And it can be like a project. But then your money's stood still in it for 2 to 3 years while you're doing it on your own. You'd have to know a little bit about cars. Or if you're paying somebody to do it, it's going to cost you fortunes. But classic cars is where the money is. Go and look at him in Derbyshire, Tom Hartley. No relation to me, by the way. Go and look how his dad's made his millions, Tom Hartley. They've made millions. It's probably worth $500 million, old man Tom Hartley. They've made it from classic cars, just charging what they want because the finish on them is off the charts, detailed. And that's where the money is. I think we spoke about it a while ago. You were looking at buying some, weren't you? And I said, well, go, for what you can buy, if you can go buy a Fiesta, can't you, now for 18 grand? But you could go buy a classic Merc, couldn't you, 15-year-old for that, couldn't you?
I was looking at the SL63.
Yeah, that's the one you were looking at, wasn't it, the SL63? And did you see one that you liked?
Yeah, it's about 20 grand to get one of those.
Yeah.
But I was looking at it like I'll have this, have some fun with it for a couple of years. Yeah, you're parking it away, right? You're parking it away till it's worth about 40, 45 grand. I'll give you an example, Russ. I saw a K-Reg M5 Touring at this thing for sale for 40 grand.
A K-Reg what?
M5 Touring.
M5. K-Reg as in 1993?
I think it was that one, yeah. It might be K or N, I'm not sure, but it was from that era. So
yeah, L's
E34
94.
shape.
Yeah, that we one of the first ones. Yeah, go on, yeah.
Yes, that was 40 grand.
40 grand for that, yeah. And I know somebody who wrapped a 280 Capri Brooklyn on an E-Reg, the last one ever made. And they give 13 grand for it, brand new, and we're wrapped with about 50 mile on clock. And they've just cashed that in for 62. So that's not bad, is it? And look how long they've had it.
Yeah.
They've had it 33 years.
So you got to know, because the other one, I saw one of these. I was out yesterday, Russ. So I saw the Mercedes 190E 2.5 16 valve.
2.60, I've had one.
Yeah, with the big spoiler.
They do a Cosworth one as well. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
No, this was the Cosworth one with the big spoiler.
The one, yeah, go on, yeah.
Yeah, mate. It was a left-hand drive, though. That was the only thing, but it looked beautiful.
Left is no good, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, it depends what you're using it for, right? If you're just showing it off, it's fine. But as a daily
then Mercedes, I had a J-Reg one, me and my partner at the time, a gold J-Reg 2.6 auto, I want a Cosworth. And that was built better than mine I've got now, and maybe as good as that E-Class one I had before that. That were nice. Yeah. The silver one I took you out in there, that J-Reg one, I thought round about that time they were proper built. They weren't overloaded with electronical stuff, like 1992 model. And like I said, I thought inside, interior and everything, there were more effort gone into it than nowadays. Because nowadays, Mercs are all right, but I just don't think there's that personal touch like there were then. Well, Mercedes were a Mercedes in the early 90s. Now I just think they're mass produced like Mondeos, aren't they? That's why I think
it's just designed to be scrapped now, isn't it?
Yeah, and yeah, basically it. Yeah,
10 years, you just scrap it. Pull the engine out, put the engine in another project car, but the rest of it you just scrap.
I remember years ago, my cousin took me out in a red 320. This kid had a market stall in Doncaster, and it were an L-Reg 320 SL. And my cousin took me out in it. I was like really impressed with this car. And I seen one of them. Well, they fetch stupid money, but they are built better than, say, that one that David A bought a couple of years ago. The white one. He bought a white one, didn't he, for his missus? Do you remember?
Yeah.
He lost thousands on it. It were a Brabus, wasn't it? With a 63 or something. Cool. Yeah. Sports, whatever, 20-inch wheels, and he lost thousands on it. And it built better than them. better than them, and that were like a 94 L Reg. That
Yeah, that SL's incredible.
They're built really, really good. That particular one. That's the best one I think out of all. Forget all these now with all this electronic this and digital that on it. They're proper cars then.
Because they were designed to go 200,000 miles.
Yeah, well, I've seen one over there with 220 on clock, and all they do is change oil every 4,000. When you're done, oil change £100 every 4,000 mile. Oil filter. They're drivers' cars. Nowadays, everything's correcting each other. You go around the corner, there's lights popping. I go around the corner in mine, and there's something flashing up, or yellow thing, or this and that. Look, whatever they call it, that what we call diff is it? Whatever. There's too many buttons on stuff nowadays and sensors, isn't there? Whatever happened to drivers' cars? You know, like you go buy a Ferrari. Mickey Field was showing me some pictures of the day at his house. Ferraris he's had and Porsches and that. He had this Ferrari, and he didn't even have a fucking radio in it. Didn't even have a radio in it. I said, "Well, you have a radio in it, Mick." It's like, "Oh, you don't get a radio in, no electric windows." Drivers' cars, like I had an Alfa Romeo. You didn't need radio on it because you just want to hear it, don't you? You know, and you want to hear it driving, but they just break down, don't they, Alphas?
That's the downside of it.
Yeah, they break down, mate. Do when I drive more. But yeah, so if you do get one, let me know and I'll give you some advice. But
that's why we come to the expert.
As well, I'm not an expert. There's better people than me, but I've got
a
little bit. But yeah. So all right, then.
I can see that coming next though. That'll be the next Porky project.
Porky Motors 595 and on your drive.
Yeah.
Don't call us, we'll call you. No warranty. On Sheffield Road, Conisbrough. We shed it back at petrol station. Yeah, we can all do that. We'll do that for a living, can't we? We'll see. But at the moment, I'm happy doing this channel. I'm not messing about with any motors. We're happy with this channel and we're going places, aren't we? Well, probably going to prison or libel courts. But it's all good stuff, isn't it? You know what? I had a Porky video on now, and all of a sudden, look, it's turned into a Dylan White Oscar Rivers.
Yeah, one of your favourite fights.
It were John McDermott Fury rematch after Porky video, and then it's turned into White Rivers. But you know one thing about Matchroom, you know, the pyrotechnics and all that in background, they do put good shows on, don't they? I know I'm anti-Matchroom, but they do put good shows on for visually, don't they? It's a bit like watching, you know, Miami Vice back in '80s. You watch Miami Vice and you watch it and you think, wow, that was like watching a film, that just for 50 minutes. Because visually, all Michael Mann's films and TV series that he's doing, visually, they're all really, really good, aren't they? Go and look at the Colin Farrell, Jamie Foxx Miami Vice. A lot of it in conversations, a lot of it's just visually in it. Do you know what I mean?
They do all that stuff like they oversaturate the colours, or exposure.
I'm looking at this now. They've got all that blue, electric blue on crowd, black background stuff and all that. And I think it's good, and it draws you into wanting to go back, doesn't it? And things like that. And it wasn't a bad fight, this actually, Rivers and White, actually. So I'm not going to be too critical of them. But yeah, I think that they do put good stuff on. They do put good stuff on. It's just the fights. They don't get the fights that we want, do they, Terry? That's all we have to hammer.
That's what we need.
So we need, mate, the fights. So, right, we've had you 2 hours nearly. We've had a good blast. I'm going to premiere this for tomorrow, Terry. So, because we've already had one go out today, and there's one on members, a weapon at week. So I'm going to premiere this tomorrow, and then everybody will know that it's going to be out tomorrow tea time. Is that all right?
Yeah. Listen, man, we had a good go today.
We had a good go too. Let's see if we can change the boxing world. See what the fans think.
All right, mate.
All right, my friend. Listen, you take care. Have a great Sunday.
You take care. Nice. Bye. All right, mate. Bye.
Well, that was my good friend Terry Chappendama from London. Terry the banker. I've known Terry about 6 years now, so been a good pal. We have a few disagreements, as you could probably tell. We're both outspoken, but it's a good night out, Terry. When me and Mariko are on it, we are on it. Drink, that is. All right. So thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video on your WhatsApp if you get a chance. And press the like button. Not many people are pressing like buttons. You know, a few thousand people watching, 50 people pressing like buttons. What's that? Press it if you like it, and press it if you don't like it. Just engage. Let me know what you think. So it's all about, isn't it? Engaging. So, all right. So that's about it, really. I wasn't going to do a video today, but Terry rung me up, so I'm working on a Sunday tea time, eh? Hard work, dedication. Big shout out to my pal Paul in Tunbridge Wells, and who else asked me to give him a shout out? Box Mad, Boxing Mad, it's called. It's Carl Wright's YouTube channel. I think it's Boxing Mad or Box Mad YouTube. He's only got 200 subscribers. Go follow Carl Wright if you want to watch some extra boxing stuff. So he's a good kid, Carl. I'll get him on this week. He'll tell us more about his channel when we get him on this week. All right. Peace out.